And good afternoon here. Good evening wherever you are. Good morning, whatever time it is for you. Hey Travis, how you doing? Let me check the volume on my frequencies over here. We're quite high. Hold that down. Just play it underneath. Doesn't have to be loud to have an effect. Hey, sweet Polly. Working with your hands? Nice. Okay. Excellent. We can use your ears too. That'll be just fine. Might be able to use some of your comments later too. So, subject of the day is Convoy 911 in Canada. We're going to take our time with this and let people roll in. In Canada, there is a new push for a new convoy to go to, in Alberta, it's one of the provinces in Canada, to go to the RCMP, which is, I guess, like your state police in the States. Hey, Travis. And demand changes, demand arrests. They have a whole bunch of demands. And we got to go through these because we got to figure out what this is, because it's something different. And we've learned lessons from previous convoys. Oh, thanks, Polly. Yeah, I kind of went on quick, so I don't know if many notifications will get out there, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. We can talk about it other times. Hey, Paula. Yep, just because it's not my name, everything's a Psy-Opp. Doesn't mean that I still don't believe that everything's still a Psy-Opp. Yeah, and this particular Convoy 911 in Canada, it has some particular irregularities. It's wet here. It's pretty dry here. It's hot and humid. It's around 92 to 96 in this area right now. We'll get up to probably 40 degrees. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. No, we're getting up to 31. So that's about 94, around there. So pretty hot. So Convoy 911, spearheaded right now by a man named Christopher James. We're going to have to go into him. He's making he's got a huge list of demands, we'll call them. Let's see. So Christopher James himself, let's get into, it's humid there. Let's get into him first. Let's take a look. Let me pull something up here. Christopher James, no. So they had him right there. See, they call him a lawyer. Now, Christopher James, unauthorized practitioner. www.lawsocietybc.ca. Share this document with you. So according to Canadian law, on June 24th, Mr. Justice Groves granted an injunction against Christopher James Pritchard, aka Christopher James, prohibiting him from referring to himself as being a counselor at law, lawyer, counselor, or any other title that connotates that he is entitled or qualified to engage in the practice of law. Pritchard also prohibited from practicing law and commencing prosecution or defending proceeding in any court other than representing himself as an individual party to a proceeding acting without counsel solely in his own behalf. The Law Society was awarded its costs, so he had to pay some indemnity for that. Okay, so Christopher James is an unauthorized law practitioner, has attempted to act as a practitioner of law. Okay, Paula, for the record, yeah. So right there, we have an interesting personality forming. What is Christopher James asking us to do is quite a lot. Now, he apparently is backed by 10 other people who are kind of directing what is going on. Yeah, right, sweet Polly. How you doing? Yeah, he's well, a fraud. I don't know. Calling himself a lawyer, if he did that, then he is definitely a fraud. I'm not going to speak to that case really, but yeah, I can speak in general that if he called himself a lawyer, he is a fraud. You know. Then there are supposedly 10 people backing him, helping him, directing him. And these are unknown people. So we have 10 people hiding in the shadows who are not willing to step forward and put forth their ideas. So that kind of gives you another red flag. So many things about this are going to be red flags, and we're going to get into the meat and bones of it in a few minutes. But these 10 unknown people, how can you do that? How are we going to be directed and governed by 10 unknown people? This sounds like the plan they have for us, but gone way worse. It's a dictatorship of unknown source. Hi, shadow lurkers. It's okay to come out and chat. Yeah, but they don't want to be, Freeman. And that's the problem. When someone wants to remain anonymous about their views and their well, in this case, they're actually asking for changes and other people to stand behind them and take action without knowing who they are. So we've got to get to what type of actions they want, because we can't get anywhere with unknown people. There's people hiding in the shadows. So what is he saying and what does he want? Well, he's claiming that we have an illegitimate government on several bases. I could imagine how someone could say that. But he wants to let's tackle that one first. Our government is illegitimate in his opinion. We have what we call a duly elected government. Now you can question that, especially with the voting systems that we have in place. I hope the lurkers are simple bots. Yeah. Don't have that many people here, so not a real big worry. So, yeah, where was I? Those lurkers. Oh, yeah. So let's get on to the legitimate government. Yeah. Claiming our government is illegitimate and calling for new elections. So we just had an election a short time ago. We now are having provincial elections. where people with more common sense are being put in government in the lower levels. Right now, we have a leadership debate going on for the Conservative Party, one of the main federal government parties. And we'll see how that goes. We pretty much know who's going to win that, and he's a globalist, unfortunately. So the fight is still going to be long and tough. But just saying our government is illegitimate and asking the RCMP, the Royal Mounted Police, and the police force and military to overthrow our government, arrest them, to put them in jail and try them of their crimes is going to be difficult, if not absolutely impossible. And I don't believe that it will happen. So our illegitimate government asking for arrests, he's asking for basically a political coup, an overthrow of our elected government, albeit, albeit maybe under some dubious circumstances. He is also asking for us to operate under a new constitution. So him and these 10 unknown people apparently have drawn up a constitution. Now, I haven't seen this constitution. I didn't agree to it. I didn't agree to them, these unknown people, writing a constitution for me. I don't know what their values are. I didn't elect them to do that. So I don't know where they're going to get the right to do that, to write a new constitution. We have a constitution, a bill, kind of a Bill of Rights. We have the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is pretty weak in itself. But it is what we have. And just overthrowing the government as it stands and saying that we're operating under a new common law, we're going to have to get into that in a bit. It's all illegitimate. And he's proposing that we elect sheriffs as police to enforce the law in the area, as police chiefs and such are actually appointed. So basically, he's tearing up Canadian law, which has worked rather well and for the benefit of Canadian people up until recently. And it is actually still now working in the benefit of Canadian people. Many cases are being won in Canada through the current legal system. Their claim that our government is illegitimate is something you can go and talk about and discuss, but you can't just claim it and have them overthrown. We have a legal system. We have a government system. We have laws that are just laws in most cases. Recently, we have had laws passed over censorship that are illegitimate. But that doesn't make our entire government illegitimate. That doesn't make every politician corrupt. So he's asking for new courts because he says our court system is corrupt. And some of it may be. Some of it may be bought out by Soros. Some of it may be bought out by others. I don't know. But the courts in Canada are overturning a lot of these charges on people. These not unconstitutional, because we don't have a constitution like yours, but these unjust cases and charges that were trumped up from, hi Max, laws being used inappropriately. Do there need to be safeguards on our government more than we have right now? Yes, we need to do that. We need to make sure that our government cannot overstep their bounds again. And government overreach is really the issue. It's not that our government needs to be torn down and we need to be left with no politicians, no guidance, because although many of you here are not sheeple, there are many sheeple out there and they need guidance, unfortunately. They need someone to stand behind. And there are people coming up now into the ranks. And charges are being laid. But we have to work through this through the current legal system, unfortunately, because it's the one we've got. And if we go against that in a way like this man is proposing, this Christopher James, if we do it this way, this will result in further restrictions, the possibility of Trudeau using his emergency powers. He's calling for a coup on our government. And that's why I think that maybe this is a Psy-Opp, a false flag set up by our government, or just a totally misguided, misdirected person. I don't know. And that's what I'm wondering. Proud of Canadians. Thank you, sweet Polly. Holy hell. Yeah. See, Canadians need to operate within the law. Calling for an overthrow of our government is not operating within the law. And he is asking for people to not submit, don't take no for an answer. Really pumping people up that this is it. This is the final straw. This is the final time. Yeah. Trudeau is some version of MK Ultra, it seems. Yeah, invisible writers of a constitution. That is creepy, right? Who has the right? Do you represent anybody? You say you're representing people, but you're not representing me. I don't know what's in their constitution. I really don't care. Well, they've given us a number, Polly. Klaus Schwab gave us a number. He said nearly half, or a little more than half, of the Canadian politicians are in Klaus Schwab's pocket. He's been quoted as saying that. I've seen him on video saying it. So he hasn't overtaken the system completely. Now, they have ousted some of those who speak up. But there are still people in there that are on our side. Now, there are false flaggers. There are plants. Absolutely. I believe Pierre Poilievre is a plant. He won't speak out. And he's only been speaking out since he's been in the running for leadership. Instead of putting his voice behind the truckers, he kept silent. And he's going for the leadership of the opposition party in Canada. I don't know. I think he's a plant. He may not be. He may be a true blue uh, conservative, but I have my doubts. The only one that's been speaking out before and after is Maxime Bernier of the PPC, People's Party of Canada. It's Purple Party, they call them. I'm behind the Purple Party. They've been speaking out against the WEF, Klaus Schwab, George Soros, all of these non-government organizations that we're paying billions of dollars to every year that are weaseling their way into our government. This world will have World War III at any and all costs. I believe so, Paula. I think that's what they want. I don't think that they will pull short of using nukes. Yeah, you're kind of right, Scotty. That would be World War IV, really. I can tell you, Rothschild's pretty well has the bank on San Jose, Northern California's waterway. PG&E is tied up and all that too. Yep. Yeah, we need to get rid of the Fed in the States. There's we have the Bank of Canada that needs to be unprivatized in Canada and brought back to the government. World War IV, not III. Yeah, and this could be a step towards it, towards more enslavement in Canada, more control. If they can claim that this man is trying to overthrow the government, and they will equate him to the Freedom Rally, to the truckers. They will associate. Then they will be able to associate anybody asking for freedom or less government overreach as Purple Party sounds pretty good, as a political enemy, as a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, calling for the overthrow of the government. So we're in a very bad position at the moment. We have a lunatic and 10 unknown lunatics trying to stir up the pot here. And are they government operatives? Who are these 10 unknown people? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows, and that's the problem. I could understand from the truckers' convoy wanting to remain anonymous as an organizer or a leader or anything like that. And there is a way around that. It's called decentralized control. If you just make it a movement, you don't need leaders behind it. There is already a movement. Hi, Noel. How you doing? Scott Cervini, how you doing? Let's see. All rockets went up yesterday. India, China, Russia, and U.S. Cape Canaveral had the biggest launch day in like 70 years. There were no nukes. Okay. So what were they putting up in the sky? Did they say anything about what the rocket's payload was? Let's check that out. So what was their payload, Scott? So yeah, those are the demands he's asking for, saying we have an illegitimate government, we need a new one. 2, to get police, military, and RCMP to join and arrest politicians. He's saying he's got a new constitution that we should operate under common law, which we have to discuss, and appointing sheriffs as police, and new courts. None of this will work. None of this will fly. Absolutely none of it. It's a ridiculous request. Various satellites. Okay, so more surveillance, probably some transmissions, transmitting devices. Yeah, various satellites. Just some random shit we're putting up there, right? So common law is an interesting subject. What is common law? Well, there is common law. There's Hudson's Bay common law that I know of. I'm not that familiar with it, but when the Hudson's Bay Company was the government in Canada, the governing body over all the lands. You live in Cape Canaveral? Cool. Get to see all kinds of shit going up in the sky. When the Hudson's Bay Company was in charge of Canada, they had a common law that they operated by. There's that common law. I don't think he wants to operate that because that's corporate law. Mostly to do with trade and stuff. But it does deal with crime and punishment and stuff like that. Common law, as far as our land, Canada has never had common law. We have Canadian law, which has operated pretty well in the defense of Canadians. Again, except in cases of government overreach. We have a fairly just system, just laws, except for the overreaches of a few years, of the past 2 years. Our law system has operated pretty successfully. So, yeah. So I'm hoping that people will share this out and discourage anyone from getting behind Convoy 911 and getting behind freedom rallies. Hey, Spartan. Because this in itself is a path to destruction. It's a way to demand government clampdowns on all protests. Yep, nuclear weapons have been used in the past. Not going to happen again. Yeah, I think there are maybe some help with that, Scott. I think there are peoples out there that will not allow that to happen. So, hi Musgrave, how you doing? So, guys, any thoughts on that? I think it's a total. If it's not a Psy-Opp, it's about the stupidest, most destructive and damaging thing we can do. Mm-hmm. Common law is better than maritime law. See, now I've heard a description of common law is just basically how cases have turned out in Canada or other places, because law is set in many cases by precedents. So that becomes common law. Doing pretty good? Awesome. Doing great myself. Watching the fall and decline of the Western society on all levels. You guys have your troubles down there right now. My God. And they have laws and edicts coming your way soon, too. They're doing this pretty much worldwide, except for India, China, Russia. They're destroying our economies, and they're going to march ahead with this for personal protest right now. That's good, Circle K. Yeah, as I say though, common law. I don't know how it's defined here either. I'm not into law all that much. In Canada, it's an interesting thing. We have, see, you in the States, you guys operate on the letter of the law. In Canada, we're supposed to operate in the spirit of the law. So the law is supposed to be applied in the spirit it was intended, so that technicalities used to misconstrue the law can't be done. I don't know that that has always held up in all cases, but it is supposed to be what our law operates under. You're having a protest in bed? You go, John Lennon. It's for peace. Start making some records, and you got to get some crazy woman with you. I hope you have a crazy woman in bed with you. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Musgrave. This will be, if it goes through, Justin Trudeau's January 6th, because he was hoping for that with the truckers' strike, but he was unable to get it. He was unable to get the charges. He was unable to get the violence he wanted out of the people, even though he sent the police to pepper spray, beat, and charge the people with horses. He was unable to get the violent response he wanted to allow him to clamp down. Now, your system right now is having huge problems. huge problems. They are setting precedents right now, and they have set precedents with Alex Jones. And that is setting forth precedents that anyone challenging government theory or government propaganda on situations, laws, anything. Hey, Alex. Alex Antros. How are you doing? I like the name. And I can't say the next one. So, hello, Alex Antros. So this is setting precedents right now for anyone who challenges the official narrative put forth, that they can be challenged on the basis you're hurting my feelings. So now you're going down that road in a different way than we did in Canada. You're going through your court system. We did it by edict of law of Justin Trudeau. We have basically the pre-crime bill, where anything you have said in the past online, if it could possibly hurt somebody's feelings, you can be charged with $20,000 and jailed. Sorry, the person finding this offense. So everyone say hi to Alex Antros. Anyone that can find an offense and have it taken to court and proven that it could be offense, not that they have to be offended by it. They just have to find it could be offensive to someone at some time, that you can be charged for that and jailed. And the person finding this charge would receive up to $20,000 for finding an offense on you. And somebody could make a living off of this. Hi, James Ortiz. So we're still losing, unfortunately, the big battles. We're winning small battles on the ground. Pastors in Canada are being freed and exonerated of their charges. Individuals in Canada are beating their charges for these mandates. So there is there is things happening on both ends. On the higher end, we unfortunately are losing ground on the federal and countrywide level. But on the low end, on the personal end, we're winning. And that's changing hearts and minds. So according to maritime law, here is the English crown can sail up the Mississippi River without invading status. Okay. Wow. Yeah, we're all still really, even though Canada claims that we are not under the Queen, we still are. We're still under the crown. We're still a crown corporation, just like the U.S. is also still linked with the crown. As far as I understand it, you guys have not really separated from the crown. It's sick. Right. Right? Well, I guess you're a horrible human being for doing that, Travis. You're not watching the appropriate videos or liking the appropriate viewpoints. That could be what the problem is. Yeah, that is quite true, Circle K. Rome never fell. King George never left sick. Yeah, we're still under, we can go right back. We are still under the leadership of the priests. The priests just became pastors and popes and bishops. And then they went into business. So now they're in politics. So we have the same priest class from Sumeria, the same bullshit for well over 3,000 years, probably 4,000 years. They have usurped the ages and twisted them. And they're trying to do that with this one too. I don't know that this will work. I don't think it will. And with people waking up, it will not. Right? Exactly, Paula. We've always been asked to sacrifice for the gods. We're doing it right now. They're asking us to sacrifice for their gods, the weather gods. We have to sacrifice a virgin to make the weather good, so our crops are good. We have to sacrifice a virgin for the rain. And what are we doing now? We're sacrificing our society for the climate and handing over all of our money, all of our powers to these miscreants, these criminals who we can trace back to Sumeria, some of them. Serco runs our postal service, passport office. You can't get a passport in Canada right now, Pearl. You can't. There's always some kind of demonic inquisition going on. Mm-hmm. Climate change, we're sacrificing our society for their gods of weather. This realm has no future. They want you to believe all this word speak. Yeah. Well, it does if we take it back, if we put truth and justice and get rid of these usurpers, these liars, these people who have Well, they control the education system. So it's total mind. It's mind control. Right, Travis? We don't have to live in a hell. We could teach people real science. We could teach people real history if we could ever get a hold of it. Um, and our world would change. We could take these systems and reverse engineer them. We can change it, Travis. It doesn't have to. If you could mind control some chick, no. What you have to do is draw a chick in, or a lady, by being a confident, intelligent person. That's all. Yes, with abundance. Yeah. What's that? Plain and simple, they are done with the experiment that is the human race and have moved on to everything AI. They have made that abundantly clear. Well, yeah, that's their intent. They think they're going to live in the digital world, and that's a sickness in itself. You know, these people are sick. They unfortunately have mental disorders, and our politicians just willing puppets, but they also have mental disorders because to get to the level in the system that these NGOs have set up, you have to be sick or you're turned. So let's see. If we can find anything else about these Convoy. There's a YouTube video by check that out. City News. What do you have to say? No, that's not anything to do with it. No, they're burying it, unfortunately. So Convoy 911 is being buried. I'm not too upset about it. What's that, Alex? My family's home was in Pontos before the Pontos genocide. And the Sumerians and Amazonian women resisted. Wow. They get what they... Yeah, through inbreeding? Possibly. Well, there are women out there like that, Circle K. And if you display that type of behavior, that will be what you draw. Right? But you can... There are other ways to present yourself and gain the interest of women. Many, many other ways. Yeah, eating bugs, that might be one way. You could go to those pro-choice rallies. They've got some interesting women there that seem like they might be open to some new experiences. That is true, B. Freeman. Government does translate into mind control. Sorry, guys. So yeah, this convoy, I hope it is not mirrored anywhere else. These demands, these ridiculous clamp down inspiring demands of overthrowing the government. I wish that was an option. I really do. But what do you replace it with? A bunch of unelected people who have put themselves in charge of a convoy? No. Dipped in chocolate, that'll entice the Musgrave. Yeah, they're pushing ahead with that in Canada. We have the world's biggest cricket factory just up the road from me. I can't get a visual on it, though. I tried maps. It's unavailable as a site. It's just a big open field. So I don't know what the plant looks like, if anyone's flown any planes into it. It hasn't caught on fire, so I'm sure it's got plenty of security. I'd like to see it, though. I'd like to see it on maps. I'd like to look at this cricket plant just up the road from me here. They're all over the place, though. They're in the States. They've started them up all over. And it's weird because I've never seen advertisements or anything about them. Just suddenly they're there, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes, and a lot of this is pushed towards the ability, like with the WHO's new proposal that thankfully I believe it was struck down, where they wanted the ability to impose with UN troops on anyone's soil that has a treaty with them to push mandates, to enforce mandates, and hopefully that never comes through, because we know where that leads once they introduce foreign troops into your, society. We had, I think, a taste of that during the truckers' convoy in Canada. They had 3 different sets of policing units. They had local policing units. They had interprovincial policing units. And they had these gentlemen in green suits with no identifying badges. They never spoke to anyone. We don't know, and we doubt that they were English speaking. They were not, and we doubt they were French speaking. We don't know where these people were from. And one of the big problems in Canada, too, is I've heard, I don't know if this is true, that all of our new police units being built are being built with separate change rooms for UN troops. I don't know if that's true, but that is something I have heard. Well said. So it's so and so said. It's called heresy, not admissible in court. Yeah. Yeah, these NGOs have to go, definitely. And that's one thing that the PPC, or the Purple Party, is calling for: an end to these NGOs, an end to the funding to them. He wants to end the funding to the CBC. Our government is funding all of our broadcasting systems on like the mainstream media, with billions of dollars, billions of taxpayer dollars, to put forth his propaganda. And they're doing a good job of it. All I see on TV right now is just propaganda out of the news. I do watch it for a few minutes, as much as I can take. But once you're on the other side, you can just peel the lies as they come at you. Yeah, really, in Colorado, they had to get, yeah. Once they claim, uh, basically, they have landed, I guess, and they take over an area. That area is considered UN territory. If you're taken into that area, you're outside of US law. So be aware of that. Even if you're around these areas, because if they get you across the property line, apparently you're not in Kansas anymore or Colorado or the US. Well, there's diatomaceous earth that's quite good for your gut intestine, gut flora, Circle K. So, but I don't think it's good as a staple. That's right, Musgrave. That's just crazy, right? So how much land can the UN claim as their territory? Can they claim a state? Can they claim your country? If they spread their troops out enough, maybe they can. I don't know. Yeah, bring your passport, right? So again, guys, if anything like this Convoy 911 comes to the U.S., start speaking out against it. Especially if they're asking for shit like this, if they're asking for all of these stupid demands, they're pushing an overreach of our rights and powers. We have certain powers too, and they are being used to success in Canada. So keep at it, guys. I know that your courts are corrupt as well, parts of them. Same with ours. It's probably true everywhere, but that doesn't mean that all courts are corrupt. There's vitamin D in dirt. Awesome. Careful not to breathe it. Yeah, that would be a good. I would put it in water or something, Circle K. That sounds like that would hurt your lungs. So common law still is a weird thing to ask for. I don't know. I still don't know the law or about common law. Yeah, silicon too. Yeah. So I don't know about him asking for common law as a. I don't think it really matters which law you're operating under. I don't know if he can impose that. I don't think he'll get the police, RCMP, military, or any of those institutions to join him in this. They're probably sitting there right now laughing and deciding how to arrest him for this. Because if he does this, he is going to get arrested and put in jail and used. Just like Alex Jones is getting used right now to strike out against you and me, anyone who speaks about any difference in what the government narrative is. And this guy is just going to help push that ahead. It's ticking me off. Because I can see where it's going. Thankfully, it won't tick me off for long, just while I'm talking about it with you guys. I'll put it aside later. That's something that I'm hoping just flops completely. I hope nobody gets behind it. I really hope this man gives it up, because even if he gets 50, 100 people to do this, they're going to use the optics of it. Just like they're going to use the optics of Alex Jones in the States to come after you guys. But as I said, there is good and bad in this. On the national level, we are taking huge hits. But on the local level, we're winning. I know that in the US too, on some of the local level, people are beating charges. You guys have bastions of freedom. You have so far got Florida um, fighting for you. That's awesome. We have Alberta Premier refusing to mandate a reduction in fertilizer on the farmers. So pushback is happening on the provincial level. You're back in your village, 700 feet above the sea. Nice. Population 450. Nice, Alexandros. Yeah, he could be. And he is not, apparently, he is not going to fight this in appeals court. And he says he's not caving, but that is caving. If he doesn't fight this in appeals court, that's your free speech taken. It will be applied to January 6th. It will be applied to anybody in the future. It will be used to great effect. I believe that the answer is protesting and asking for change, asking for limitations of government through the system we have now. The government needs to be limited in its reach. But peaceful non-compliance, if they're not shills, Candy, and welcome to the show. Everyone say hi to Candy. If they're not shills, they're useful idiots being used. And I don't think it would matter who it was. Somewhere out there, if you were listening to anybody else, I think they would use them as well. Jones may be a deep plant, but him or somebody else would be used in this way. I don't know how this guy thinks that this is a good idea. He may be a deep plant as well, this Christopher James. But this is not the way to do it. Asking for basically a coup. We have to work on the local level and build up from there. It's going to take time to get people in place who are actually for our freedoms, for your Constitution, for our Canadian rights, Canadian Charter of Rights. We do have politicians that are for that. So we have to keep looking there. And, we have to get the people out there. If you have to run for office, run for office, on the local level. Become part of the process. I know that sucks. I don't want to join public office. Well, he's being used, B. Freeman. He's being used to stamp down on your free speech. So that's what's with Alex Jones. If they didn't have Alex Jones, they probably would have taken one of the people from the Freedom Convoy, although none of them seem to have a very big voice. So it wouldn't have been as effective. But they will be linking all of this together. The Freedom Convoy in the US, the Freedom Convoy in Canada, Alex Jones, this idiot that's coming up, this James 9 Convoy 911, and this will be used to clamp down on us. Yeah, let's protest by being happy. That's a good idea. Well, anyone propped up, there are independent journalists now that are becoming popular. It seems like they haven't sold out yet. In Canada, we have Rebel News and a few other news organizations that are considered alternative news, and achieved an official status of that by the government, which is of course the next step. They will be pushing for licenses, news licenses. So anybody putting out their opinion will have to have a license to do so. But right now, they're trying to make all freedom protests into insurrections, into what this gentleman is trying, a coup. That way, they can label all protests they don't like and all protesters as domestic terrorists. And that's just where this is going. Yeah, Candy, you're absolutely right. Reading the religion. um, you are correct. Religions are misconstrued teachings of what is valuable knowledge, but it has been misconstrued. Oops, they didn't like what I was saying. I don't know how long I was gone for, guys. Hi, Isabella. Let's see what I missed. All right, by Alexandros. Get back to the field and garden. Yep. Kitty walked on the keyboard. No, the powers that be just decided to take us out. Okay, so I'll end this with do protest peacefully because that is our right. Do ask for change. Do ask that we limit government overreach with new laws. Did a lot of people leave? Yeah. So do those things. Speak out. Speak the truth. Even though the truth in the future may get you in jail. For some of us, that's going to have to be the price. Hopefully for not for you or me. There's bigger fish to fry than us, and they have to get to them first. So I'm going to keep speaking out against this. I hope you guys do too. Oh, thank you, Isabella. All right. Have a great day, guys. Much love. We'll see you again soon.